Can you hear me now? Good evening, everyone. I am CA Sudhir Suthar, moderator of this VCM. We are delighted to welcome you all in the VCM being organized by Continuing Professional Education Committee of ICAI. It is my pleasure to be moderator for this session on VCM on emotional intelligence and in Schedule 3 and CARO 2020. In a short while, we will start this VCM. Before that, I would like to apprise you about the CPE committee. The profession of chartered accountancy has always been recognized for the quality of education, training, and strong grip over technical standards. With globalization and increasing business complexities, it is essential that chartered accountants equip themselves with the changes occurring and stand out to the expectations of the society. Our institute is constantly working and contributing to cater to the needs and requirements of our members and has taken various initiatives for them from time to time in this direction. With this view, the Continuing Professional Education Committee of ICAI has always been the foremost to provide opportunities to their members to boost their knowledge base. Okay. So, the program for this evening is as follows. We have two sessions of 1 hour each, and the topics are number one, emotional intelligence, very relevant topic in this global environment, and the second topic is Schedule 3 and CARO 2020. Our eminent speakers will talk about above mentioned two emerging areas of professional interest. Okay, now I would like to introduce you to our Vice Chairman. So just give me a second. Okay, let me introduce our Vice Chairman, CA Gyanchand Mishra, who is Vice Chairman of CPE Committee. CA Gyanchand Mishra is a fellow member of ICAI.
Sudhir, 1 minute. Gyanchand ji perhaps is not here. So whenever he will join, we can introduce him.
Okay. No worries. So we can go with your introduction, sir?
Yeah.
Or should we wait for...
my introduction is not required because... so I'll straightway address for some time and then Madam Jayashree can address. And Yagnesh sir, if it is convenient to you, you can put on your video. No issue, because he is on Zoom call with us.
Okay.
Good evening, friends. Welcome to this 9th webinar on Saturday of the CPE committee. Every Saturday we have started this 2 months back, and we have 2 sessions. The whole purpose of these webinars is to make each member as a thought leader. Thought leader means one who is seen on a particular subject, the passionate subject of that member, and that member seen as speaking on that subject, seen as writing on that subject. And the use of social media, which can be used without spending a single penny. We can reach 500 crore people. Canva is such a beautiful free platform to design the flyers and so many other things, book cover, visiting cards. Now, today's topic, we are very lucky that we have expert Madam Jayashree carrying 2 decades experience on emotional management. Now, this topic I consider more important than even knowing a technical subject, because by all our activities are driven by our emotions. If somebody says, Mr. Adukia, you are not performing well, whole our enthusiasm goes down. 2 hours back, my wife told me, Mr. Adukia, with so much experience of yours, you should be earning 10 crores per month. Now, she knows my passion. My passion is to work for the profession. Perhaps I'm earning 20 crores a month in terms of the value and satisfaction which I'm deriving. Similarly, so the self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, madam will be talking more. Like how we have on a mobile, we put a guard so that rubbing don't spoil the mobile screen. Similar way, we should guard ourselves that others' comments do not affect our enthusiasm, our speed, our passion. And similarly, the second topic, Mr. Yagnesh Desai, when initially I was not knowing IFRS, I remember I traveled with him to Riyadh in Saudi Arabia 15 years back. In the train, every minute in the hotel. So my technology of learning a subject, like if I want to learn emotional management, emotional intelligence, I'll develop friendship with Jayashree madam. I'll keep a talk with her. I will take part of the session. She will take a major session. So same thing I used to do with IFRS, CARO, Schedule 3. And it's a wonderful technology. So I invite each one of you. I want from Mansukh the statistics, how many members? 1,000 members are live, Jayashree madam. 1,000 members and 2,000 members have registered for this webinar. So I want each 1,000 of you, because we can have 4 webinars in a day. So we can accommodate 365 into 4 speakers. And we can have maybe 20,000 books. There's a parallel series going on at Ahmedabad, a webinar hosted by Ahmedabad branch, how to write a book within 7 days. Maybe how to become a speaker also in 7 days. Like Sudhir, once he agreed to moderate, he had so many questions. How I will introduce, whom I will introduce first. It's a great learning. So I want each one of you to volunteer yourself to be a moderator of our webinars, to be speakers at our webinar. So I will leave the session to the experts, because Saturday afternoon, 2 hours have been spared to listen to them. So over to you, Mr. Sudhir, over to you, Madam Jayashree.
Thank you, sir. And you rightly mentioned that you need no introduction in CA fraternity. So, okay, we will, start the session. So I will, first introduce, in fact, Jayashree ma'am also, doesn't need any introduction, but I will, still go ahead with it. So about Jayashree ma'am, she has done MA in clinical psychology from Bombay University and MPhil in psychology from SNDT University. She is also a certified life coach. She has also done MOOC courses on well-being, happiness, leadership, etc. She has experience of more than 18 years. Also, she has trained more than 15,000 students till now as a counselor, trainer, professor, visiting faculty, and a consultant. She has conducted numerous workshops and seminars in the industry focusing on emotional wellness and stress management. She has also successfully conducted sessions on personality development and leadership for school students. She is passionate about people realizing their potentials and living a happy and healthy life. She believes that with this spark, we can bring personal transformation and achieve optimal well being. So, with this introduction, Jayashree ma'am, I would like to let you know that we have people joined, we have members joined from different platforms, and we will be consolidating the queries, and we will take it in last 15 minutes. So, over to you ma'am, and we look forward to a great session.
Thank you so much, Sudhir, and thank you so much, Rajkumar sir. for giving me this opportunity. I'm honored and excited to share about this topic, which is very, very close to my heart. Okay, so this is something which is, I believe that emotional intelligence is something everybody should acquire, and the best part of it is that you are not born with, but you can learn, you can understand, you can develop the skills. So emotional intelligence is a skill which all we can acquire at any point of time. So today, this is going to be an opportunity for all of us to again interpret, understand, get the insight and learn about it. Okay, so let me share my screen so we can start with this. So this is about emotional intelligence, and we will be learning all about emotions. We know that we are here and we just we want to know what happens to us. We know that our emotions are there. We are going through this professional world. We are having a lot of stress. Sometimes we are happy, sometimes we are sad, sometimes we are excited, sometimes we are frustrated with the thing, sometimes we are worried. And we know this, we are going through all this roller coaster of our emotions every day. So our today's session is all about understanding our own emotions, how to manage those emotions, using those emotions for our growth, and perceiving our emotions and also emotions of others. So this seminar we are going to learn about.
Jayashree ma'am, if you can put it in slideshow mode.
Yeah, one second.
Thank you.
Let me stop sharing this and again let me share this. I think that will be better way of putting it in slideshow. Okay. Just a minute, let me check. Okay, so when we talk about, let me, by the time I start with my screen sharing. One second.
Ma'am, should I put it up?
One sec. No, it's okay. I have done that. Actually,
Okay.
there's some problem with this, and now I can do it perfectly. All right. Okay. One sec. I think I can share it now. And
I think it was below somewhere. Slideshow mode was below somewhere.
and I'm doing this. Okay. Can you do it for me?
Yeah, I will do it.
One
Just give me a
sec.
second.
Can you do that?
Yeah, let me do that.
Okay.
So let me know once you are able to see my screen.
Yeah, I can. Thank you so much. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is what emotional alarm. So So just now, when my PPT is not working on this Zoom platform, what was happening to me? I was going through this emotional turmoil. I had so many anxiety questions. What is happening? I don't know what is do. Then the question came to my mind when Rajkumar sir told me that there are 1,000 people watching this, and here I'm getting excited. I'm getting nervous. Now, the thing is that emotional intelligence is all about managing your emotion at this moment and handling the situation. And this is what we are going to learn today. So, it's okay. I have the help. I can take the help of Sudhir who can help me out and going with this PPT. Okay. So, that is what. So, let's see what we have for our webinar today. So what we are going to learn over here in this slide, we will learn about what is emotional intelligence. Think about it. What is it? And anatomy of your brain to understand science behind emotions. So how do my brain works? How to become more emotionally intelligent, and then tips and strategies to showcase your skills in this area. So this is what we will be covering in this webinar. We will be having questions in the session after last 10 minutes. So you can write your questions in the chat box, and at the end of the session, we will be answering those questions. Okay, so let's start with this journey about emotional intelligence. So what is emotional intelligence? So we say that emotional intelligence is our ability to understand, use, and manage our emotions in a positive way. So it is like, when you are stressful, how you can relieve your stress. You can communicate effectively with your friend by controlling your emotions. You can empathize with others when they are going through some turmoil, they are going through some problem. You can empathize with them. You can overcome challenges in your own life and diffuse conflict. You can resilient if you are emotionally intelligent. Right. So that is all emotion. So it's all, if you see, this is all everything, whatever we do, whatever it's that, it's all related to your emotional intelligence. So learning and understanding about this emotional intelligence can give us a great insight in our own self. It's just like a key for your success. So what is it? So the next slide, please. Okay. So as I said, emotional intelligence is the key to your success. See, the thing is that it's all about my own emotions, about understanding, managing my emotions, understanding others' emotion, and managing and influencing and motivating them to behave in a particular way. So when I talk about my own emotions, I will be more successful if I can manage my emotions. I'm able to handle it in a better way. I'll be more happy because I have control. And research says that freedom of choice or the control on the situation is one of the very important factor for your happiness. When I know that I can control, I am emotionally intelligent person, I'll be more happy in my life because I am able to manage the situations. It is a key to your good health because we know that our behavior, our thoughts, our feelings all are interrelated, and our physical health is dependent on our mental health and vice versa. So it is also a key for your positive thinking. It is said that there is a direct correlation between the people who are emotionally intelligent and they are also positive thinkers. It is also a key for your effective relationship. So your relationship with in your personal life or in your professional life, it will be much better if you are emotionally intelligent. It is also a key for your effective communication. And here in the CA fraternity, we know that communication is very important. You are dealing with your clients, you are dealing with in your personal front, in your professional front, and we know that communication can make or break your career or your life, your relationship, everything. So here we are going to have this set of keys with us, which is known as emotional intelligence for today's session. Okay, so the next slide. Yeah. So before we start with it, let us understand how my brain actually works when we are emotional. So the three brains which we have. See, this is anatomy of neuroscience, the brain and the science can help us to understand why do I behave in this way? What happens to me when I'm in a situation? So imagine yourself that you are walking in a forest and you come upon something dangerous such as a big bear. Okay, your eye sees the bear and immediately sensory organ sends this message to your brain. And your brain, this adrenal glands gets this message that there is something dangerous in this environment. And this, your adrenal glands pump in adrenaline into your system, resulting in increased heartbeat. You will have heartbeat, you will be having palpitations, sweaty palms, you will be have butterflies in your stomach, tensed muscle, and you are becoming ready for fight or flight. That is how your brain reacts. Now, what happens actually? We have these three brains: reptilian, limbic, and neocortex. Neocortex is that part of the brain which is responsible for your it is prefrontal cortex, and it is responsible for your logical thinking, problem solving. Limbic system is your emotional brain, okay, and reptilian is your survival brain, which takes charge of all your body's physiological reaction. Okay, so what will happen the moment generally our prefrontal cortex, this portion is for prefrontal cortex, it is responsible for all your rational thinking, problem solving, and all is responsible. But when we get excited, when adrenal gets this message that there's something dangerous in an environment, my limbic brain, our limbic brain will activate upper reptilian pump. So this all reaction in your, heart beats fasting, sweaty palms, butterfly in the stomach, and then tense muscles are because the message is given to your reptilian brain by limbic brain system. Now, what exactly happens in this situation? This will be seen in the next slide. Okay, so here, when you are not high in emotions, okay, your higher cortex, that is your prefrontal cortex, will be working, and your low level of emotions are there, and your brain amygdala, the small amygdala, we will call it ME. Okay, so this ME of your brain will be there, so it's working perfectly all right. But the moment we are emotionally aroused, this brain amygdala will take in charge. ME will be the dictator in your brain, and it will hijack your higher cortex, and then you can't think logically. It won't allow you to think logically at that moment. In the spur of that moment, people have those violent behavior because when the emotional level is high, your anger, fear, excitement, it could be anything. Now, hey, discuss. This is going to stop. It will take over. It will take charge. ME will take charge of your high prefrontal cortex. Okay, so this is what will happen with your brain. So in the next slide, Sudhi. Okay. So this is basically what is the problem with all of us is that, we all are intelligent and sophisticated because our prefrontal cortex is developed. Okay, but still prior part of us primal which causes us to react without thinking, and this type of reaction can have impact on our success. We know in spur of moment, in spur of argument, we just react and we say मेरा कंट्रोल खत्म हो गया, आई जस्ट डिडंट, मेरे को गुस्से में मैंने ऐसा कह दिया, या आई डिडंट हैव कंट्रोल. दिस ऑल इज बिकॉज we have nowadays we have become a person or an animal with a mobile phone in our hand, and with mobile phone we are losing lot of control, losing this control, and you can see people are becoming very irritated because they don't know, all of a sudden something is taken from them. Mobile is, suppose for example mobile phone is taken from them, they don't know how to react. They just go back to their reptilian brain, that is the basic brain, and they start behaving just like we used to do in a primitive time. That's why a lot of violent behaviors are taken place. Okay. So this emotional hijacking, which we will be discussing, this now you understand why it happens. The thing is that your prefrontal cortex will, all blood oxygen will flow towards your amygdala. This feeling is your emotional brain, and here it takes all the charge. So Amy has hijacked your thought process, And now this is how emotional hijacking has taken place. I can't think logically. I can't understand what to do. And spur of moment, for fraction of second, I lost control, and this is what. So emotional, next slide. So emotional intelligence is about learning how to tame this hijacking. I know it's going to happen to me, but how can I control that hijacking is what we are going to learn in today's session. So I hope you have understood how our brain works and why spur of moment we forget everything, and we in that spur of moment we are not able to respond, but we just immediately react. Okay, and this is it possible to tame this hijacking? Yes. With emotional intelligence, yes, we can do that, and we are going to learn that in today's session. So what happens, 90% of the time we work in a autopilot mode. Autopilot mode is what? Just like we, without realizing, without being mindful, we just do things. When you see your laptop, when you are doing some calculation or when you are typing the message, you don't look at the keys. You are doing in an autopilot. You have learned to that level that you can reach to that, and because of that, you can work. Now, this autopilot is like, we can perform all mundane activities mindlessly, and we don't have to, because by doing practice and again, we have learned that. But what happens when we get into this loop of habit and we also start reacting to emotions in the same way with this autopilot mode? We need to understand and be mindful. So this, something is happening over here in my brain. My thoughts are going over here. Because of that, they are giving rise to some emotions, and because of my thoughts and emotions, I'm behaving in that way. So if I'm aware and I know what is it all about, then can I control that? Can I manage? Am I able to redirect my emotions channelize my emotions? That's what we will be learning today. So, uh, Sudhir ji, next slide, please. Yes. Thank you so much. Okay, so this is emotional intelligence competency, which we will be discussing today. So if you see, two are related to yourself, that is self-awareness, self-management. Two are related to others, that is with interpersonal, that is social awareness and relationship management. Now, when we talk about emotional intelligence, if you see from other point of view, it's about two skills are intrapersonal, within me, about myself. Two are interpersonal, me and others who are there. And self-awareness is the stepping stone in this whole diagram. If you are aware about yourself, then only you can manage. Very obvious, very logical. If you are able to manage yourself, then you can be able to pay attention to others, that is social awareness. And if you are aware about others and self-management, you are able to manage yourself and you are aware about yourself, then only you can build relationship. So it is like self-awareness is the key for stepping stone for self-management, social awareness, and relationship intelligence. So what is it? Self-awareness. What is it? What do I understand by this? How do I understand what is it mean? What is it's like, am I aware what exactly is going in my mind at this moment? What I'm thinking? What are my habits? What are my flaws? What are my shortcomings? What are my weaknesses? What are my strengths? Am I aware? Do I have a pattern when I'm in a situation? I'm anxious. What thoughts pop in my mind? When I'm angry, how do I react? So everything about yourself is what we want to understand, self-awareness. Okay, so next slide. Okay, so as I said, self-awareness is all about recognizing about your feelings. See, when we say emotions, it's like emotion, that is energy in motion. So if I want to redirect my energy, I need to first of all be aware of that energy, right? So the ability to recognize what you are feeling at that moment, to understand how generally you respond to a situation when you are under stress, when you are under some deadlines, and when you are under some evaluative situation, when you are on, you want to, you are anxious. What is your emotional response when you are running short of time? Whatever it may be, the not habitual emotional response to even when somebody says something. How do you respond? How do you react to the situation? Okay, and to recognize how your emotions affect your behavior and performance. So when you are self-aware, that time you will have a good sense of your ability and your limitation. So when I know what I'm thinking at this moment, so few minutes back, when I just could not start with my PowerPoint presentation, the thought which came to my mind was, what will I do next? How will I do it? What is happening to me when I know how it is working, but why I'm not able to do it? Now I got into this trap of thoughts and I'll become more anxious. Now I know that the sign is there at the lower side of your screen, in the right side of the screen, but I just could not see because I was anxious. Now, it's normal. Don't think that emotions is going to not going to be there. Negative emotions are not important. Negative emotions are as important for you as positive emotions. The only thing is that when I'm going through this negative emotions, if I'm able to recognize them, I should be able to channelize them. So at that moment, when Sudhir gave me this option, okay, ma'am, shall I share the PPT? I was saying, okay, this is option, and now my prefrontal cortex could work because I just could have the control on it. So this is about aware. So understood how it happens every moment. Every moment you have to be aware. You have to understand. Okay. So the next PPT, please. Next slide, please. Okay. So let's take a pause. Let's take a pause. Close your eyes and think about it. How are you feeling now? Just think about it. So, how many of you could label yourself? How are you feeling? Could you label that? Yes? Could you understand what thoughts, how are you feeling, and what thoughts were giving rise to those feelings? What were you thinking? And how your body is responding to that? This is what, you know what, the one tip I'll tell you, actually, at any moment of time when you're traveling in the train or you are in the middle of a meeting and something happens, a small negative thought may pop in your head, and then it may hijack your brain and you start feeling bad about things. Okay, and your reaction is going to affect that. There is a direct connection between your thoughts, feelings, and emotions. So, at this moment, let's come back to our how are you feeling now? And can you label that? Can you understand? And how are you feeling once you know once you recognize? So, one thing always remember when we talk about self awareness, we also say be just an observer. Okay, don't be judgmental about your thought. I should not feel like this. I should not feel envy about something. I should not feel jealous. I should not feel uh, I should not feel sad about thing, or I should not feel like this. It's not like that. Feelings are feelings. Okay. So just agree, accept that, and then try to channelize that feeling. That is what is important. In the first stage, if you in the self-awareness stage, if you justify your behavior, your feeling, you won't be able to do it. So just acceptance, self-acceptance is very important. So whatever you are feeling at this moment is what you are feeling. That's it. Just be an observer of that. Next slide, please. Okay. Now, how can we be self-aware? Look out for triggers. So, when you are, what is that triggers? What are those events or triggers because of which you become emotionally aroused? Okay. So, and what notices? So, for example, let's take a simple example. Uh, you are going for a meeting, client meet. CA fraternity. So I'll take that example, that you have a very important client meet, okay, and your meeting is supposed to be at 10 o'clock. Okay, you have done your preparation. Okay, you are ready with all your files and everything, and you know that the destination where you are going to have the meeting, you will reach there by 9:30, and your meeting is at 10 o'clock. So you have kept the margin of half an hour to reach that place. Okay, you leave home and your car, you are not, I mean, your car's breakdown has happened, or you get stuck in the traffic, or something happens. Okay, and say for example, let's take it, you stuck in the traffic and it's already 9:40. Now what will happen to you? You will be anxious, worried. What will be the emotion? And we can see that, I mean, we all will be having different emotions. Some of you will be worried, some of you will become very angry. You will keep on pressing, banging uh, your you know your you will keep banging, you will be worried about the things, you are not able to understand what to do, and you are getting irritated. हॉर्न पे हॉर्न आप बजा रहे हो, और या फिर आपको बहुत गुस्सा आ रहा है, you know what to do, and you are not able to call up the person and inform the person and all that. Okay, could be anything. So when this type of thing happens, say for example, you have look out for the triggers. So at this moment, what has happened? Let's take an example. You were supposed to go for the meeting. You are late for the meeting because you got stuck in the traffic. Now look at the triggers. Okay. Now what my client will say? What will happen about my deal with that client? What if I'm not able to crack the deal? What will be such a big, huge loss for my business and all that? So that you do one thing. You just say, okay, I got stuck. This situation is not in my control. Now what can I do? Let me call up my client and inform him that I'll be late by half an hour. Let me inform him first, and let me see what are the other ways through. Is there any other alternate way through which I can go or reach to the destination at the on time, or what are the other things? So when what are we doing? We are looking at whatever the triggering event is there. That moment, you are, if you are able to see that, you are able to control. That is, you are able to manage. Okay. Now, take notice of emotions. What are you feeling? Each of us will have different ways. Some of you will be worried, some of you will feel upset, some of you will be frustrated, some of you will be angry, everyone. Situation is same, but notice what emotion will you be feeling at that moment. Okay? Now, take a pause. Take a pause, say what I'm feeling at this moment. Anxious? Okay. Now take a deep breath. Okay, and now try to think. Now I'll tell you why it is important. We'll discuss this, but this will help. So try to write it down. Once sit down, write down what is it, how you generally react to situations, and that is your understanding. See, self-awareness. I'll tell you one thing. So when a research was done and people wanted to know how many of us are aware about self, so the question was circulated and they wanted to find it out. So 90 to 95% people say that yeah, we are moderately aware about ourselves. Okay, and then a scientific questionnaire was administered to check their level of self-awareness, and it was that only 10 to 15% people were actually self-aware. So we may have that thought in our mind, but am I right? Am I able to notice? Am I able to be aware about what exactly is going over here in my brain, in my thoughts? So that is it. Okay. So the next slide. Okay. So what you have to do is that you will be understanding also. Sit down, write it down, observe yourself. See, you are the best judge for yourself. So once you are aware that how you generally react, so you can do one more activity once my session gets over. Is that sit down, write down different situation when you emotionally were aroused. So triggering event, what was the event? How did you react? Okay. What was how and what was your reaction, and how it affected your relationship and how you could have handled it in a better way. So think of some of the situations when you have done something you have, according to you have not done, you have not behaved in an appropriate way. Think about it, Some people get very angry, okay? Some people get frustrated when the other person is not able to do the job in your office. If your articles are not able to do some job, you get frustrated. Sometimes when you others are not able and you don't know how to do, you become hostile sometime. Whatever it may be, think about it, okay? And think about yourself. What are your virtues? What are your strengths, weakness, everything about yourself, okay? And when you are writing about yourself, just be aware about it. Just be an observer, sorry, and write it on everything, how you respond in different situations when you are under pressure. Okay, when you are happy, how you respond to them, what are your aspirations, what are your goals, write everything. Once you are aware, see the thing is that once you are aware, when we know where I am and where I want to improve, that is where it comes with the self-management skills. So if I know that when somebody shouts at me, somebody screams at me, I feel upset or I feel worthless, like I feel that I'm not very good at anything or something, I have a self-doubt, I need to understand and then only I can change that. Am I right? So the ability to stay focused and think clearly even when you are experiencing powerful emotions. Okay, and being able to manage your own emotional state is essential for taking responsibility and for your action. So you can be saved from hasty decisions that you later regret. So we have seen many times we may take a hasty decision only because we are not able to think logically at that moment. So you're controlling, not Amy has all the control. Let your prefrontal cortex, your thinking brain to take the decision is what we need to know about self-management. Okay, so next slide please. Okay, so when we talk about self-management, these are 3 A's. Okay, 3 A's always remember: being aware, being accountable, and take action. Okay, now what is being aware? Being aware what exactly I'm feeling, what exactly I'm thinking, what thoughts are there. Okay, accountable, that I'm responsible for what I'm doing. So once you take responsibility for your behavior, your thoughts, your feelings, you always know that you always have a choice. You can take action. If you don't take responsibility and you blame others, you say, I don't have control. I can't do anything, It's simple that I don't get angry, but when you say this, you make me angry. So do others have the control of my feelings, emotions? Why should I give my remote in others' hand? Let's take it back. Self-management is all about managing yourself, taking the remote control in your hand. And this remote control has 3 A's: being aware, being accountable, and take action for that. Am I doing the right thing? Is it the right thing what I want to do at this moment? Is it the right thing I want to behave like this? Or should I have control on myself? What is it? Am I thinking right? What is it that? So that is what 3 A's. So will you remember 3 A's? Awareness, accountability, and action. So just be aware about yourself and that will help you to be aware what is it. Then only we can manage. I'm responsible for my life, for my things and everything. And now I will have all the power to take action and to change what is it now. Next slide. Okay. Now, when we talk about first step, when we talk about it, it is about noticing my feelings. Okay, thoughts and behavior, all 3 things. What am I actually feeling at this moment? What thoughts are coming in my mind? Okay, and how it is affecting my behavior or how I am behaving at this. See, when we talk about self-management, there are 2 things. One is reflection and one is notice. Reflection is what is already has happened, just as I told you, what was the triggering event, what happened, what was your reaction, and how it affected your relationship. That was reflection, which is already is happened from past. We are taking so that next time, excuse me, I will take care and I won't behave in that way. That is your reflection. And second is at that moment, I will notice my feelings. So when you are in the middle of meeting, when you are traveling, when you are in this middle of this webinar, what are you feeling? What are your thoughts are coming to your mind? How are you behaving in this case? Or when you are in meeting and with your client? See, the thing is that once you are aware and when you know that, okay, I have a choice and I'm accountable, and because I am accountable, I have a choice, I'll be making the right choice. If my behavior is affecting my client's behavior, I may have a choice. Let me notice what is it that is really disturbing my client. So once I know that, okay, is it that I'm using harsh words? Is it because of my indifferent attitude towards the person, whatever it may be? So now the next thing is, can I make a change? I have a choice, so I'll make the right choice. I'll be more considerate towards my client. So remember, every time you have to use a pause button. Pause, think before you react. Okay, so when we talk about self-management, once you are aware, okay, this is fairly, you have an idea, how you react in situation and how you deal with your team when there is a conflict, when there is a difference of opinion, when the work is not done, when the delegation is not proper, whatever it may be. Once you know that in any of those situations, you are aware like how I react generally in the situation. I know now if my reaction is not fruitful, it's not helping me, I will change my thought process, I will change my behavior, and next time I'll be noticing at that moment and I will be making the change and I'll be making the right choice. Okay. See, the thing is that, the stimulus, the environment and response is a small gap. Okay. And that gap, what you think in that is going to decide how you will react. And this gap is filled up with your belief system, what you think, what you have born and brought, what you have learned in your life and all that, the stories we tell it to ourselves and all this will be affect. So let's fill up this gap by before reacting. SNR, instead of reacting, start responding by thinking. So take a pause, think before you react. Take a pause. Okay. So that's it, and that is we'll go to our turtle now. This is my cute turtle. Okay. Now this is activate your inner turtle. Now what is it? This word, is reflection of what we feel. So say for example, when I am upset with something and I have self-doubt and all those thoughts in my mind, and I go to my office and my colleague tells me something and I say, oh, it's so difficult, I don't think I will be able to do that. Okay. Now, other day, when I'm very happy, I'm very excited, I have completed all my tasks and everything, I go to office, my colleague comes and he gives me the work, say same work, and he tells me, and I say, oh yes, we can do it, it's very easy, I think we can try, it's going to be challenging, I'm very happy with this work. Now what is it? It's what I think over here is going to affect how I perceive. So whenever you are in a situation, just like turtle, he puts everything in his shell and very slow, inert, the same way, slow down with your thoughts. And take this turtle with you whenever you are, and whenever you are in the spur of moment and you are emotionally aroused, say, I want to activate my inner turtle. I will be introspecting. I will be understanding what is going inside me, why I'm feeling like this, what I'm feeling, and can I channelize my energy. So I hope everybody will take this turtle with them and you can activate your inner turtle. Have your inside, have reflection, understand, be compassionate about yourself. And whenever you are, just see, okay, my turtle, where are you? I want to activate my inner turtle. Okay, this you can, this is a metaphor. You can just take a turtle, they are very, very slow. At the same way, you have to slow down with your thoughts, with your emotions so that you can manage with that. Next slide. Okay. So when we are aware about ourselves, okay, and when we are aware about, when we are able to manage ourselves, the third thing comes about understanding others. So when you understand yourself, you accept yourself, and you, okay, it can be, we can boost our social skills by empathetic listening. You know what, 25% time only we listen actively or empathetically. So whenever somebody is talking to you, team mad, your client, whatever, whoever it may be, start developing this habit of empathetically listening to that person. Okay, be mindful at that moment when you are in interpersonal communication or you are in interpersonal relation with somebody. Just be mindful. Take out your phone, leave that phone aside, and just be present in that moment. See, the most of the time when we are communicating, what we are doing, we are, instead of listening to the person, we are preparing in our mind what we will be saying next to this. And that's why we are not able to listen to what the person is saying. Okay. Third, change your perspective. Reframe it. It may be the person is coming from different culture, different background. He may not have. It's not necessary that everybody should be have those generalized or everybody should be like this and that. It's okay. It's okay. Change your perspective. Try to understand the cultural background, about the attitude, about the politics, about the background of that person basically. And try to understand. Show genuine interest in others. Whenever you are with somebody, okay, with your verbal and non-verbal behavior, show that you are interested. Okay, it's simple, you know, when you go to your office and you are talking to somebody and the other person is on his phone, he's just saying yes, yes. You would like to continue talking to that person, you know. Somehow you felt that, okay, I don't mind, you would just, uh, finish off your communication and then you'll just go away. But if somebody shows interest, they show with them, okay, what happened? They show interest, you feel like talking more and more to them. So same thing applies to that. So social awareness always when we all show genuine interest in other person. Okay, pay attention to the clues which is given by that person with his non-verbal behavior, verbal behavior. So you will start learning about that. If the person is going through lot of tension or anxiety or worry, the person's facial expression, the person's eye movement will give you that clue the person is under tension. Okay, so pay attention, and that time so you go and say something which is very funny, the person won't be interested. So try to understand, see, it's simple, your friend, he just, cracked a very important deal. He's very happy. Okay, and that time you go and tell him and you share about his happiness and you just, show that all that, he will be very happy. But if a person has made a very big loss in share market and you go and share and be happy about that, person won't like it, right? So pay attention to the clues and accordingly you should know how I should behave with others. So being and show your understanding towards others. We all have our own battle of life. Okay, we all go through different things. We are not aware what we are going. We are not aware what others are going through. So just have this, attention and just be empathetic to others. Put your feet in other person's shoes and see how he or she might be feeling. And this will build your relationship. Believe me, social awareness is the basic for your relationship. Next slide, Sudhir, please. So, when you are aware about yourself, when you know how to manage your emotions, you are able to control, it means you are able to handle and behave with action, with intention, whatever, and you are able to manage with it. You are also able to influence, manage, or help others, okay, inspire them, and can build a relationship. So you need to show genuine interest in others, okay? You have to be flexible when you are talking. Don't be, we say it that when you are talking, we use acronyms GIVE, GIVE in your communication. GIVE is what? G for gentle, I for interested, V for validate, E for empathize. Validate whatever the person is going through, feeling through. Don't try to judgment it is right or wrong. Just validate their feelings as their feeling. So be GIVE in your relationship. Okay. Conflict resolution, attitude. Tactfully voice your opinion. When you're talking about your opinion, be respectful, be kind, and then this will help you to build relationship. I'll give a simple example. You are the captain of a ship, okay, and in this ship, because you are the captain, you are responsible for whatever happens to the ship. And if we use the word relation in front of that ship, that is relationship, you are the captain of relationship in your life or the relationship. Forget about what others are doing. See what I can contribute. How can I manage with this relationship? If a person is, there's no one has a difficult talk about, when we talk about a difficult person, I can't stand this person. Instead of that, say, how can I speak or how can I communicate so that I'm able to talk to this person? So you are the captain of all your relationship, and that's it about your relationship management. Okay. We're running short of time. So the next slide, please.
Yeah.
Okay. So now fuel yourself. See, so just accept yourself, self-awareness, self-acceptance, and then managing yourself. And now fuel yourself with positivity. Our thing, create your own child in you. Just be like a child, happy. Sometimes in that. Take a role. Every day, come out of from your professional life for some time, say for 10 minutes, just be a child, 3 years child. ऐसा आपको डेली एक काम करना है कि रोज 10 मिनट के लिए आपको 3 साल का बच्चा बनना है. ओके, लेट गो थिंग्स व्हिच you can't control. Okay, and the thing next is ventilate your emotions. So you can ventilate your emotion by sharing it with somebody, or you can ventilate your emotion by writing or journaling or doing something, but ventilate your negative emotions, very important. Okay, empathize with others and also practice attitude of gratitude. Okay, so as we are running short of time, we will go towards the question answer session now. I hope you have understood everything, and if you have any questions, please let me know so we can answer those questions. So I can see in the chat some of the questions are there.
Do you want me to read for you?
Can you do that, Sudhir?
Yeah, actually, one question is emotional intelligence reasons. I don't have specifics, but I think that is we have already covered. Then there is another question from Rajeshri. How can we be more intelligent emotionally? Is there any exercise we can do every day?
Yes. Okay. So one thing is that when we talk about emotional intelligence, you have to tune into yourself once in a while, every day. See, the thing is that we are very much connected with the outer world, but we are not connected with inner world. So at any of the in middle of anything, whatever you are doing, just take a pause. Okay, close your eyes for a fraction of a second. Take a deep breath and think what is going over here. So when you take this deep breath and just try to be aware what thoughts I was just going through, this will help you to connect with yourself. Okay, and this connection is very important for us too. Secondly, in the morning, first 30 seconds, when you get up in the morning, if you start your day with some positive things and all, you will be able to manage your day emotionally, because the emotion is a roller coaster we go through for the whole life. So in fact, starting 30 seconds in the beginning, in the morning when you get up, fill it up with positive thoughts and with the positive things and happy things about yourself. Be grateful to your God and whatever it may be. And then, be mindful in between of the sessions. Just be mindful what I'm thinking at this moment. Okay, so this connection with you will help you to be able to, if you do it every day, you will practice it, you can control your amygdala, ME, and your prefrontal cortex will be the king. So that is how you can control your.
Yes, ma'am. We will take one last question.
Yes.
It is from Subramani Iyer, and the question is: can you explain OCD? How does it affect our life, personality? How to be aware of it and how to treat? Maybe in just a minute,
Yeah,
we are
sure.
short of
So we need to see the symptoms, and before diagnosing somebody as an OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, we need to first look at the person's condition. We have to take the case history and find it out. It really affects our life work. If it is if it's going to affect your life work and everything, because you are going to and you are not able to control that. Obsessive compulsive disorder is when you are not able and you have to do things as they are. Okay, and sometimes with relaxation, with meditation, and with other therapies, we are able to manage it. And sometimes we have to go for the clinical treatment for OCD. If it is very severe, we have to go for clinical treatment. It's better to get it treated. It is possible and it is easy to get treated, but the treatment is very important in this case. Okay.
Okay. So thank you, ma'am, for such an informative session. And I think in this world full of artificial intelligence, machine learning, robotics, I think one of the most important skills that people need to have is emotional intelligence. So thanks for enlightening us with all your thoughts. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much, everyone, and thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. And thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Sudhir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. So sorry, Yagnesh sir, we are slightly behind the time.
Absolutely no issue. Please go ahead. हमको
Okay.
तो लग रहा है कि आप चलते ही रहे
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry, sir. मैंने आपका time ले लिया थोड़ा सा.
कोई बात नहीं,
I didn't see the time actually. I was.
No worries. No worries.
समय की धारा में आप बहती रही थी.
Yeah. अब हम आपको सुनेंगे एकदम ध्यान से, सर. चलिए.
गौर से सुनिए.
Right.
Thank you so much.
कभी कभी आंख बंद कर देना.
Thank you.
Sorry, take it in the
Okay.
next pen, please.
Sure. So thanks, ma'am, again. And now I would like to introduce CA Yagnesh Desai. He is a chartered accountant. He is a fellow member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. He is also a member of American Institute of Certified Public Accountants. He has been practicing since August 1983, has wide knowledge of audit of corporates and taxation matters, actively associated with activities of the ICAI. He composed and delivered e-lectures for accounting standards for the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. He is also a regular speaker on accounting and auditing standards at various seminars of the ICAI. He has also delivered motivational speeches at various national conventions and student conferences. He has trained many CPAs of Philippines on IFRS between April 2009 till date, deliver 1,088 sessions and seminars in about 40 cities in India and abroad. This is Yagnesh sir's 1089th session. He is recently awarded Icon 2020-21 of Mumbai City by Times Group. So I think very worthy profile, sir. And without much ado, I hand it over to you. We will have 15 minutes at the end of the session for Q&A, and we have participants on different online platforms. So over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Sudhir, and thank you so much, the Central Council member, the chairman of the CPE committee, Rajkumar ji, and the VCM vice chairman, ज्ञान चंद मिश्रा जी, जो जाने जाते थे ज्ञान की गंगा के नाम से. And I must appreciate, Sudhir, you moderated very well, and I also acknowledge the help of Krishnakant. And Jayshree जी, आपको सुनने का ऐसा लग रहा था कि हम सुनते ही जाए, कहीं आप रुके नहीं. Thank you so much, everybody. And समय की सीमा बहुत कम है, कहना का बहुत है, so I'll be very staccato. And I clarified with Sudhir in the morning that please don't expect me to go through the each and every slice. काफी बना के रखा है मैंने, and I'm going to share so many things which you perhaps may not have anticipated, और आपने इनकी कल्पना भी नहीं की होगी. इतनी चीजें मैं आपसे शेयर करने वाला हूँ. And let me now move to, have you made a co-host, please? Hello, or the host? Can you see the PPT on your screen? Hello.
Yes, we see it now, sir.
एंड सबसे बड़ा स्वागत करता हूं ऑल आर लिसनर्स, जो कितनी तादाद है मुझे पता नहीं, बट हमारे सब लिसनर का ये शो में आपका स्वागत करता हूं तहे दिल से। मित्रों, यू नो इट दैट इज अ वेरी टफ टास्क टू स्पीक ऑन डिविजन 3 and CARO. Jabki we know that there are 3 divisions in the Schedule 3 to the Companies Act. Division 1, which is applicable to the non-Indes company. Division 2, which is applicable to the Indes company and companies, and Division 3, applicable to the non-banking finance companies. ये अपने आप में ही पूरे एक दिन ले लेते हैं सर। And leave aside CARO. CARO 2020 has 21 clauses. So my job is to give you some hint that wherever there is an alignment of the CARO with the Schedule 3 of the Companies Act, I'll give you those tips. Plus, I'll give you some other tips. And I have done something with the help of my team. Friend, it is all the efforts of my team, and I give full credit to them. It's not a one-man show, it's a team, and I give credit to them. And the things which I'm going to share with you is as under A. Division 1, complete balance sheet and profit and loss account along with the all notes and the accounting ratios. B. CARO checklist converted into Excel format. And DRI. C. Our institute has done a great job by publishing this document called Guidance Note on the CARO 2020. In that publication, they have given at the end of each clause as to which is the format of the Excel, of the table in which the auditors is supposed to comment on. My team has converted this into the Excel format, so which I'm going to share with you, so your task become easy. And the last one is this document. This I have prepared, my team has prepared today only, sirf aur sirf aapke liye. And what this is about, I'm going to read it out. There are about 10 clauses which are common in A. CARO and B. Schedule 3 to the Companies Act. जो CARO में भी इसका जिक्र किया गया है and Schedule 3 of the Companies Act में भी इनका जिक्र किया गया है. That means, technically speaking, when we talk of Schedule 3 to the Companies Act, these changes have been covered in the disclosures to the financial statements. And the same clauses, or more or less the same clauses with some deviation here and there, are also there covered in the CARO 2020. And I'm going to explain you the difference between what is the difference of an item being covered in CARO 2020 and the same item is covered in the Division 1, 2 and 3 of Schedule 3 to the Companies Act. बताऊंगा आपको ब्रेक के बाद। काफी रोचक बात है। So this statement also I'm going to share with you. This will make your task simple. So now first thing we'll see that, just please. I always acknowledge whoever or whichever documents or whichever literature has helped me, and I acknowledge all these documents which has helped me, and this is where I've taken the support for my PPTs. मित्रों, मैं केवल सूत्रधार की भांति बतौर सूत्रधार मैं आपको सामने पेश कर रहा हूं. This is not my knowledge. What I've done is assimilated, okay, collaborated in one platform, okay. And I must tell you one thing, friends. You must read, and you must read these documents. I can tell you one thing, that in AICPA, American Institute of Certified Public Accountant, when you want to have even the accounting standards copy, official copy, you need to shell out few dollars. जी हाँ, मजाक नहीं कर रहा हूं सर. Whereas you see what support our Institute of CA is doing, is giving to the members. Guidance, known technical guidance, FAQs, up, you ले लीजिए, and threadbare. And sir, friends, this one book of Division 1, Schedule 3 to the Companies Act is running up to 187 pages. If you read this guidance notes for Division 1, 2 and 3, Friend, you don't need to consult anybody. And I promise you won't make any mistake. Take my words, friends. I am not above you. I am one of you only. केवल एक ही फर्क है कि बतौर फैकल्टी मुझे ये पढ़ना पड़ता है. And जब मैं when I read it, sir, I realize that the more I read, the more I realize how much I was not aware of it. I don't feel ashamed of admitting this today. The idea which I want to convey is that you must read these guidance notes and all these documents published by the ICAI. These are the abbreviations. Now, the CARO 2020 was announced on 25th February 2020, and changes in Division 3, in Division 1, 2, and 3 in the Schedule 3 of the Companies Act were announced on, I think, 25th March 2021. So after that, first was CARO, and then it was the Division 3, Division Schedule 3 to the Companies Act changes were made. And these changes were made across the board for all divisions, Division 1, 2, and 3, as you can see up. What they have done, sir. So there's a big paradigm change, conceptual change, and I'm sure you'll agree with me. The idea of taking out certain requirements of the CARO 2020 and make it a part of Schedule 3 to the Companies Act for all divisions 1, 2, and 3 is to enhance the responsibilities of the management. Because we all know that the managements are responsible for the financial statements, including notes to accounts. And if you see, the major changes have been made in all three divisions in disclosures rather than in the presentation. किए हैं, but बहुत कम किए हैं. And those are about the nomenclatures. Like for the property plan equipment, for the fixed assets, they use the word property plan equipment. Correct, sir? And for intangible assets, tangible assets, and reshuffling items from here and there. But the major changes have been made in disclosures. So what is done now? An item which was the responsibility of the auditor to comment on in CARO have now been made a part of your notes to accounts, thereby making management responsible for informations given in those scheduled to the balance sheet. In fact, as mentioned by CA Srinivasan Joshi Sahab, that Division 1, 2, 3 changes have made your tasks simple. The thing which you were not been able to ask or which you are reluctant to ask to the management and consequently not reporting have not been made a part of the onus on the part of the management to give this information to the auditor. So आपका काम बहुत आसान कर दिया. So this is the blessing in disguise, no denying about it. And what they have done, friends, if you sit down, जैसे जयश्री जी ने कहा वैसे आप शांति से बैठिए, आंख बंद करके बैठिए और देखिए कि क्या क्या समन्वय किया है in this changes, both in division in schedule 3 as well as in CARO. So they have combined combinations of following things. What are the following things, friends? These following things are encompasses application of CARO 2020. Index की कुछ changes है. जी हाँ, the very first change made in the schedule of the equity. There they say that if any changes have been made retrospectively, now this is encompassing the requirement of Ind AS 8. It says that when an entity changes an accounting policy retrospectively, it has to restate the comparatives. So, to make it suitable to the Ind AS 8, they made these changes. Then Companies Act 2013. And then the insolvency and bankruptcy court. जी हाँ दोस्तों, आप कहेंगे कि where is the question of IBC being brought in here? And IBC has been brought here in terms of the default. Trade creditors, whether they are disputed or not. And certain items have not been defined, and there it has been picked up from the IBC also. The default is also carried out here. And something to put a plug on the deemed deposit. Friends, deemed deposit is more the dangerous word, and the repercussions are very serious. One of the clauses is that if an entity has received an advance from the customer for supply of goods or services, and the entity has not supplied goods and services within a period of 365 days, then after another 15 days, also if the entity fails to repay the amount, this amount is considered as a deemed deposit. And there is a requirement in CARO for this, and they have added the small, seemingly innocent looking word, including deemed deposit. बहुत खतरे वाली बात है सर. So then, and what we were doing, sir, many of the consultants were doing this is like this, जो सरासर गलत बात है. और से सुनिए, or maybe if possible I can take you through the Excel sheet. Okay, computer G, let's go to Excel sheet. So this is, say for example, the schedule of the notes to accounts for the trade receivables. So this is 10,000, this is 20,000, and there is one more thing which is 10,000. So this is advance received from the customer. Okay, now if we go to see, this is going to be only 20,000. I'll try to increase the font size. So this is debtors receivable, this is receivable, and this is minus advance received from customer. Ideally, this should have been presented on the liability side as the advance received from customer against the under the current liability. But majority of people do this. So friends, so one may argue that it doesn't impact the balance sheet totally, no? Ultimately, the balance sheet tallies. No. What you have made a mistake is offsetting. You have offsetted the amount receivable from this customer as against the amount payable to this customer from against the amounts receivable from these customers, which is absolutely wrong accounting principle. Now, this kind of मस्ती जो करते थे वो अब बंद हो जाएगी, because now you have to give the aging analysis of the trade receivables. Friends, I must say something to you. There are some sections of the Companies Act which are of a great importance, I would say immense importance, and you must read these sections when you sign any audit report of a private limited company. And this is section 73, which deals with the deposit along with the rules which is given in chapter 5, and you must read, because mostly the Company Act is given more by the rules than by the sections. So section 73 with the related rules, then section 180, then section 184, that is the disclosure of interest, 185 dealing with the loans to the directors, 186 other than loans other than directors, that means the general loans at a minimum interest and plus subject to certain limit of 60% and 100%. And if there's a default, then the company has to default on the repayment of the loans of PFI, public financial institution. Then you should take permission from them, pass a special resolution and all kind of thing. Then so these are certain sections जिनका जिक्र किया गया है in section 188, also related party directions. So these are some sections, sir, you must by heart them. I would say read the sections with the rules every day for 1 week, and I want you to be a master for this. What are the exceptions? Like, for example, section 73 is not applicable to the startup companies. So on and so forth, right, sir? So be careful about that and don't simply sign. So ये रहा आपके सामने एक statement जो I am going to share this with immediately after 5 minutes from the conclusion of this session. Like, for example, clause of CARO 3(1)(d) deals with the revaluation of property, plant and equipment. Now, in this case, this is covered in division in Schedule 3. Like clause number these, my team has given the page number also, okay? On page number 2, page number 18, and page number 36. Now, of which document? This is a document called 24th March, the notification issued by the MCA for these changes in Division 1, 2, and 3 of Schedule 3 to the Companies Act. In ye, we have given the page numbers of this because then you'll ask me, sir, why 3 pages? Because there are 3 divisions, 1, 2, and 3. And friends, this had come to my mind today morning only. क्योंकि आदेश था राजकुमार जी जो मेरे घनिष्ठ मित्र हैं कि यज्ञेश भाई ऐसा कुछ बताइए कि he also agreed because he is also a vivid speaker and an author himself for so many books. He told me, Yagnesh bhai, I understand is काफी कार्य दुष्कर है, but try to give the best possible to my audience, and that's my endeavor to give you the best to my professional brothers. Okay, so this summary I've made, this will make your task simple. That anything it's covered in CARO has a reference in the division 1 to 3 and vice versa. Now, this is not just for sake of knowing that, oh, this is there also in CARO, this is there in division 3. No, it's not for that fancy. The idea is that you should match disclosures in Schedule 3 with what you have written in CARO. Make sure that they are on the same page. Make sure that they are the treatment given and your understanding and disclosure are similar, correct? Because wherever because the same clause is required in CARO at the same time in Schedule 3 to the Companies Act. देखिए कहीं उसमें disparity ना आ जाए, because that could be the glaring mistake on your part to say that, look, in CARO I have opined this and in Division 3 I have given this. Not done, sir. कतई नहीं चलेगा. Okay, sir. So this is सिर्फ आपके लिए. All right, it's going to come to you. No worries. Okay, now then, and many changes, major changes in disclosures. We know that presentation is what is shown on the face of the balance sheet and income statement, whereas what is not shown on the face of the balance sheet and income statements is known as the disclosures. जो हम कहते थे एक ज़माने में schedules and now notes to accounts. Okay, notes to accounts are forming part of the financial statements as defined under the Companies Act. सर एक और चीज बहुत गौर से सुनिए सर, and it is this. We all know that CARO is not applicable to all companies. CARO is not applicable to all companies. There are some exemptions given to the companies, like small companies. Now, सुधीर जी, आप किसी और एक हमारे पार्टिसिपेंट साहब को बोलेंगे कि वो अगर मंच पे आए, हॉट सीट पे आए हमारे साथ. कंप्यूटर जी, प्लीज कॉल समवन ऑन द हॉट सीट. सुधीर जी, इज एनीवन विलिंग टू कम ऑन द हॉट सीट प्लीज? मैं उनका स्वागत करूंगा.
Krishnakant, is that an option?
No, sir, there is no options there.
कृष्णकांत, आप खुद बन जाए मेरे साथ हॉट सीट पे आइए.
Sir, Sudhir sir can manage.
सुधीर जी.
Yes, sir, I'm ready.
कंप्यूटर जी, सुधीर जी का स्वागत कीजिए हॉट सीट पे. सुधीर जी, एक प्रश्न पूछना चाहता हूं कि व्हाट इज द डेफिनेशन ऑफ द स्मॉल कंपनी नाउ व्हिच इज अमेंडेड in terms of capital?
I think,
A,
sir,
2 crores in terms of capital. A, 50 lakhs paid up capital. B, 2 crores. I must tell you I must give you one hint. There is a change in the definition of the parameters of the small company. And this is applicable from financial year 21-22.
I will go with 2 crores, sir.
You'll go with 2 crores?
Yeah.
Would you like to phone a friend?
No, I'm relatively sure.
Absolutely correct. Lock किया जाए.
Yes, 100%.
कंप्यूटर जी, लॉक किया जाए एंड देखते उनका उत्तर सही या गलत. बिल्कुल सही जवाब. 2 crores paid up capital is absolutely correct answer. Give claps to you guys. Please give the clap, please, on your chat box. Let us be as interactive as possible. Otherwise, मुझे लगता है कि मैं एक बतौर न्यूज रीडर की बात कर रहा हूं, है ना सर? तो आपने जान लाई सुधीर जी बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया। एक और बात कह देना चाहता हूं कि वहां पे एक और भी तब्दीली की है, एंड दैट इज इन टर्नओवर। टर्नओवर जो पहले 2 करोड़ का था, एंड नाउ इट इज मेड 20
20
crores।
crore. Yeah.
सो द होल आइडिया ऑफ डूइंग दिस इज दैट सर, एमसी ने बहुत स्मार्ट मूव खेला है। चेस की चाल में इन्होंने सबको चेकमेट कर दिया। एंड व्हाट इज दैट? देयर इज मोर टू इट देन मीट योर आईज। An item, a company which would have been a small company, CARO would not have applied to it. Yes or no?
Yes.
CARO is not applicable to small companies. And काफी कंपनीज है हिंदुस्तान में जो ये निकल जाएंगी, ये कारो स्मॉल कंपनी की वजह से, राइट? So if an item is there in CARO, it may not be covering so many companies.
Right.
And the information which the NCA wanted to solicit from the chartered accountants from the company will not have been possible. Yes or no?
That is correct.
So what they did, they made this division 1, 2, 3, schedule 3 to the companies as applicable to all companies. So there is no exemption, there is no exception. Rather, the onus has compounded even on the 1% company to make this disclosures, because they want to increase the database and see whether the companies are complying with certain clauses or not. करेक्ट सर? सो ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट बात है कि बहुत बड़ा बदलाव है, जिसमें एज आई कीप ऑन टेलिंग देयर इज मोर टू इट देन मीट योर आईज। ये केवल एक बदलाव नहीं है कि शेड्यूल 3 में ले लिया और कारो से भी ले लिया, नहीं, नॉट लाइक दैट। नाउ इट्स गोइंग टू बी एप्लीकेबल टू ऑल कंपनीज, एंड एज यू कैन सी इन माय स्लाइड, दिस चेंजेस इन शेड्यूल 3 टू द कंपनीज एक्ट इज applicable to all companies across the board. तो मित्रों, बी केयरफुल दैट यू हैव टू ओके नाउ आप अभी ऑब्लिवियन में जा सकते हैं सुधीर जी। ओके, now what is the difference between an item covered in CARO 2020 and making it part of the notes to accounts? What if an item is covered in division 3 in CARO 2020, also the scope of covering? सर, ये मैंने बताया कि काफी चीजें कॉमन हैं जो कारो में भी है, एंड डिविजन 1 to 3 शेड्यूल 3 टू द कंपनी में भी है। मिसाल के तौर पे when it comes to the revaluation, कारो में कहा गया है कि 10% एंड शेड्यूल 3 में कुछ नहीं है, बट यू हैव टू ऐड वन मोर एंगल हियर सर, एंड दैट एंगल इज डिस्क्लोजर रिक्वायरमेंट बाय द अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड्स। Disclosure requirement by the accounting standards. When it comes to the revaluation of property, plant, equipment, CARO in Division 3 says that you need to separately mention if the change is more than 10% in the revaluation of the property, plant, and equipment. Halaki, this requirement is not there in the AS 16 and Ind AS 16. I think it is paragraph 73 or 77 of the Ind AS 16, which says that what you need to disclose when it comes to the revaluation of property, plant, and equipment. So, when an item is covered in the CARO and Division 3 to the Schedule 3 to the Companies Act, read also the relevant accounting standard and see that whether the accounting standard requires additional information, more information as compared to what is solicited or what is required of CARO 2020 and Schedule 3 to the Companies Act. And the safest call would be, let's not go into the debate that which is more superpower, whether the act or the standards or the CARO. Let's not debate into that. हमारा काम है चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट के हिसाब से कि भाई यू मस्ट डिस्क्लोज व्हाटएवर बेस्ट पॉसिबल, टेक द सेफेस्ट रूट। अगर कारो एंड डिवीजन 3 कहते हैं कि 4 आइटम्स दी जाए, 4 आइटम्स टू बी डिस्क्लोज फॉर अ पर्टिकुलर आइटम ऑफ एन एलिमेंट ऑफ द बैलेंस शीट, एंड इफ द स्टैंडर्ड सेज यू डिस्क्लोज समथिंग मोर, एंड दैट विल मेक 5, सो मेक 5 आइटम्स एज अ डिस्क्लोजर एंड नॉट अ 4. Don't debate that accounting standard cannot override the act. वो हमारा विषय है ही नहीं. Don't get involved into that. Do your best. Okay, sir? So, If requirement is there in the schedules, in the division 3 and CARO, as also in the accounting standard, and whichever is more wider, more scope cover that only. And same thing will be applicable when you compare between division 3 and CARO and see what if an item is covered in division 3 and CARO also, and the scope or the coverage is not the same. That means if the scope is higher in division 3, then go for that. If the scope is higher in CARO, then just address to them. We need to vet. Now there is one more tip I want to give you friends, and इस मामले में chartered accountants कुछ shy है sir, and that is the number of forms issued by the to be lodged with the MCA. Many CAs are there who are not doing this work themselves, but they are outsourcing it to the company secretary. I don't say there is a good or wrong thing, no, please. But those who are not doing this work themselves, they are sometimes not aware of the forms to be lodged with the MCA. Allow me a minute. I'm just freezing this, okay, and then let me just allow me a minute, please. एक बहुत ही बेहतरीन डॉक्यूमेंट है जो आपसे मैं शेयर करना चाहता हूं जनाब, एंड दैट इज कंप्यूटर जी प्लीज हेल्प मी. Yes, and the credit for this document goes to Bombay Chartered Accountant Society. Is there in the public domain. मैंने कोई बड़ा कष्ट नहीं लिया है इस बारे में, but this is a fantastic document given by published by the. Can you hello Sudhir ji, can you see on your screen the BCA document in PDF file? Sudhir ji आप हैं क्या शो पे? Krishnakant, Sudhir?
Yes, I'm here. I can still see the PPT actually.
You can still the PPT? Okay. Okay, now I realize the mistake on my part. Okay, fine. Can you see now the BCA reference?
Yes.
Okay.
Now we can see.
This is a very good statement, and as I told you, I credit goes to BCA for this, and it's a public, is then the public domain. You must download this. अगर नहीं करना चाहते तो मैं करूँगा आपके लिए. And this document tells you which are the forms to be lodged with the MCA, and which will help you to prepare and finalize accounts and report on CARO and Division 1 to 3, Schedule 3 to the companies. Like मिसाल के तौर पे, when it comes to the related parties. Now, as per Section 184, if I'm not mistaken, a director has to make a disclosure in Form MBP1 in the very first board meeting where he's being appointed, and every first meeting of the financial year. In this form, he has to disclose as to what are the related parties. It makes your job simple. Section 188, related parties, make very simple. Pursue this form. When it comes to creation of charge, then CHG1, and when the closure of charge, CHG4 or 7 form or something like that. When it comes to the deemed deposit, friends, there is one document called DPT3 to be lodged with the MCA. So when you pursue this thing, you do read this, you do take the information from them, and as your audit documents, keep it on your record. So this will help you to supporting, because it's quite possible that the company may have declared some deposit as a deemed deposit in DPT3. Correct, friends? So there are various forms which you should always pursue. आपको ये documents देखना है, अपने documents में रखने हैं, and then make your audit documents a very foolproof. So this is what I wanted to tell you, friends. Just a minute. So we need to refer to those forms. And there is one more standard which is applicable, omnipresent, omni-applicable to all this. And we know that events after the reporting period. There are certain transactions, there are certain requirements wherein an auditor has to refer to this standard. For example, there is a requirement that the entity has applied the resources, applied the loan for the purpose for which it has raised the loan. Say, for example, term loan has been raised to, for example, term loan has been raised for buying an equipment. But rather than buying the equipment, you invest in the construction of the building. So this is not known as the correct application of funds for the purposes for which. But I must tell you one more thing. As per the definition of the willful defaulter as given by the RBI, diversion of funds may be considered as a willful defaulter, provided there is a default in the interest and or the principal. So now let's come to this question that entity has applied these funds for the genuine purposes for which it has borrowed the funds, say for example plant and equipment, but not before 31st March or before the year end, but after the year end, but before the accounts are authorized for the issue. Now in that case, even if the funds have been applied after the reporting period but before the accounts are authorized for the issue, it can still be considered that entity has applied the funds for the purposes for which it has taken the term loan. All right, sir. So, like this, as I told you, there are many other sections, which areas where you need to not stop or confine yourself only to the year end or reporting date, but rather go beyond that and go to the date when the accounts were authorized for the issues. So these are kuch misal hai, the examples that you need to refer to this thing. Now, one of the very, very basic changes made for the companies, which is the non-Indies companies, Division 1 companies, where they have used the word a shall. Shall in the act or the any legal document means it is a must. May means optional. Shall means must. Now imagine that total income, if less than 100 crores, you can use hundreds, thousand, normal kind. But if the turnover is more than 100 crore rupees, then the nearest minimum the denomination has to be 1 lakh. So we have recently faced this because in many of the private limited companies, mostly we know that the paid up capital is 1 lakh only. And I'm sure you'll agree with me this remark that mostly the paid up capital is 1 lakh only. So there it was sounding very funny to see that paid up capital is 1 because the company's turnover is more than 100 crores and it is required to round off to the nearest lakhs. Be careful, sir. Be careful about one more thing that the Division 1 of the Schedule 3 to the Companies Act, I'm going to share with the format of the balance sheet and the income statements, wherein our team has made it very clear that, sir, when it comes to the income statement, why don't you write amounts in lakhs except EPS? Except EPS. Because EPS is in the actual rupees and not in lakhs. So ध्यान रहे इतनी छोटी छोटी बातों का नहीं. So the changes mainly across the board in Division 1, 2 and 3 are mainly on the disclosures. बहुत and profit loss में काफी कम changes किए except revenue का income कर दिया and all this. Now this is for example, sir, I'm giving you one few examples here, which is to deal with to be in sync with the India's 8, that retrospective accounting for that. Okay. Now these are the.
Sir, sorry to interrupt you. We still see the
sorry.
other
Others,
screen.
sorry, dear. मैं क्षमा चाहता हूँ सर. तहे दिल से. Now can you see, sir?
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
I'm so sorry about it. This should not have happened. Okay, so these are the few examples wherein I put in that shit. And now, देखिए, here is the example. Sir, these slides, all PPTs I'm going to share with you. आपके लिए तो लाया हूँ sir. And when I believe in sharing, I share with the share dil. Do you get more when you share more? Okay. So here is an example that this is a requirement in Division 1, Schedule 3 to the Companies Act. A reconciliation of the gross amount and the net amount carrying this. Now here if you see, the same requirement is there in the CARO also. Can you see the replica? This is the requirement in the Division 1, Schedule 3. बिल्कुल यही change है in CARO. This is the paragraph number. Now, I must tell you something here, please. So, before I conclude, I have to address a query by हमारे एक मित्र है, श्रोतागण है, जो उनको जानता नहीं, बट इनकी मेरी क्वेरी देखी थी, महेश कुमार लक्ष्मी चंद। महेश कुमार जी, आपने एक प्रश्न रेज किया था, आई एम गोइंग टू कम टू दैट। नाउ लेट मी टेल यू that there are about 13 changes in the disclosures in division 1, 2 and 3. कहीं कुछ कम ज्यादा हो सकता है, but on an average मोटा मोटा जिसे कहते हैं 19-20 13 changes in disclosures in the balance sheet. And there is one paragraph called additional regulatory information. We call it ARI. Additional regulatory information. And there are about 14 additional information which is being solicited by the disclosures. And अगर आप मुझे इजाजत दे तो मैं संक्षेप में बता देता हूँ. When it comes to Division 1, Schedule 3 of the Companies Act, Division 1, Computer G, additional regulatory information, I am reading it quickly. Title deed of immovable properties. Then the second one is about where the company has revalued property, plant, equipment. Third is the disclosures about the KMPs, loans to related parties. Then the capital work in progress. Mahesh ji, आपका प्रश्न CWIP है. I'll come back to you, sir. Please जाइएगा मत, बने रहिए. Intangible assets. Then the details of the Benami property held. Then the willful defaulter, relationship with the stuck companies, registration of charges with the satisfaction of register of companies. You need to read CHG 1, 4 and 7. Compliance with the number of layers of the company, subsection 85 of section 2 of the Companies Act. Following details, ratios, accounting ratios का भी जिक्र किया गया है. सबसे बड़ी चुनौती है return on investment, because there I had सर बहुत सालों के बाद ये accounting ratio पढ़ने की नौबत आई. So what I did, I referred to the documents of the educational materials of the ICAI given to the CA students. So there I find the very good information and very good formula which I have given there. But when it comes to the CARO, when it comes to the guidance note on division 1, 2 and 3, the return on investment is a bit complicated. Okay, all right. Then compliance with the approved arrangement, utilization of the borrowed funds and the shared premium. Okay, and then in profit and loss account, there are 3 changes: undisclosed income, CSR, and the last is the cryptocurrency. So ये है changes, all changes. The major changes are in disclosure. As I told you again, there is a paragraph called additional regulatory information, and this is there on page 4 of the notification dated 24th of March 21. Alright, so ये है सब. Now here in this case, I was referring you to the disclosure requirement by the AS16 or IND AS16. Now if you look at the requirement of IND AS16, does not specify the threshold limit of 10%. So it says that whether it is a 10% change, 1% change, or whatever may be, you need to disclose it separately. And I was mentioning that this is required in paragraph 73 of IND AS16. And this paragraph, the number which I have given here is 8.1.1.18, is the paragraph of guidance note on Division 2, Schedule 3 to the Companies Act. Okay, sir? So, हर नक्शे कदम पे I keep referring to the guidance note. Sir, ये तो हमारी गीता है, sir. Now, when it comes to the MSME, you need to understand the MSME, one form to be lodged with the Register of Company every 6 months. But one thing is that if there is no default on the MSME payments, then you don't need to file the MSME return. Okay. Now, here also, as you can see, the reference has been made to the relevant paragraph of the CARO. And there, can you see here, whether the term loan. Now here, there is some tweak. यहाँ पे जिक्र किया है borrowings, where here they use the word term loans, right? And I think this is what I have given one. Okay, what tantamounts to diversion. Sir, ये कोई मैं बहुत बड़ा ज्ञानी नहीं हूँ, sir. I have come to down to earth person, that these are all from the guidance note issued by ICAI. ये मेरा नॉलेज नहीं है सर. अगेन आई एम टेलिंग यू, बतौर फैकल्टी ये मेरा कर्म धर्म है कि आपके सामने पेश करूं व्हाट इज गिवन इन द देयर इज अ वोल्केनो ऑफ नॉलेज इन दिस 3 books. I think you must read this. You must read this. And I being a old school person, हम तो सर पुरानी किताब लेते, इसमें मार्क करते, इसमें we do some noting and all this. So friends, you must read the guidance note for all these standards. So in the meanwhile, before I forget, let me address Mr. महेश कुमार लक्ष्मी चंद्र. महेश कुमार जी, आपने एक प्रश्न पूछा था जो मैंने चैट बुक में पढ़ा था, and that's about the CWIP. Okay, now you had mentioned that capital work in progress. If you go to see the capital work in progress is divided into the disclosure requirement for the CWIP is given in 2 parts, and part 1 covers the projects in progress and projects temporarily suspended. CWI का जिक्र has to be done, disclosure is to be done in 2 parts, 2 tables. Table 1 is confined to projects in progress and projects temporarily suspended. And there they have given the less than 6 months, 1 to 2 years, 2 to 3 years and none. And the second part is completion is overdue or has exceeded the cost. तो 2 विभाग में इसका विभाजन किया गया है. One is the projects in progress and temporarily suspended, and second is where there is a cost overrun. When there is a cost overrun or in terms of time it's overdue, the completion is overdue. तो समय की मर्यादा भी काफी हो गई है and cost भी ज्यादा हो गई. So इनका जिक्र आपको करना है. And महेश जी, आपका सवाल ये था कि अगर कोई प्रोजेक्ट ऐसा है कि जिनकी which is to be completed in parts, there is some capital work which is going on and which ideally has to be within parts, like segment 1, segment 2, segment 3, segment 4, something like that. So what is the criteria for the completion of the project? So in this case, in fact, you have very humbly mentioned that rather than seeing the project as one single unit, rather than seeing the project CWIP as one composite single unit, कि जब चारों 4 कंप्लीट हो जाएंगे तब हमें कहेंगे कि प्रोजेक्ट पूर्ण हुआ, तो ये गलत होगा. Now I presume that 4 segments or 5 segments which are separately identifiable are basically one which is not dependent, interdependent on the other part. That means project segment A is over and it can function on its own independently without depending on the project number 2 or the segment number 2. At the same time, segment 1 and 2 are independently operating. They are not in any way depending on segment number 3. So in that case, all the segments are construed and treated as a separate project. And if one is over, remove from that and put it in the fixed property plan equipment. All right. So this ये मेरी समझ में ये होना चाहिए. But what is to be seen, Mahesh ji? You need to see that whether these segments are capable of operating independently, or they are integrated, or they are interdependent. If they are not, then they can be treated as a separate. Otherwise, they have to be treated as one. All right, sir. If I'm not mistaken, अगर डिवीजन 1 की आप बात जिक्र करते हैं तो पैराग्राफ इज 8.9.4. लिख लीजिए सर, पैराग्राफ इज 8.9.4 ऑफ द डिवीजन 1 शेड्यूल 3 टू द कंपनीज एक्ट, जिनमें it is given as this paragraph 8.9.4.1, 8.9.4.12, and like this 8.9.4.9, about 9 paragraphs have been earmarked for this CWIP. Mahesh ji, I implore you to read this guidance note. Paragraph 8.9.4, and if you're not mistaken, it's page number is 65. Don't go by page number, but this I remember perfectly. 8.9.4 of division 1 Schedule 3 to the Companies Act. So, sir, this, as I told you, this I'm going to share with you. And wherever there is a cross connection or the reference of the CARO in Division 1 to 3 Schedule 3 to the Companies Act, मैंने इनका जिक्र किया है and उसको I try to link that. Okay, sir, and plus this statement which is here, and I'm going to share with you after within 10 minutes after this presentation is over. I'm going to do that now. मेरे ख्याल से मुझे कहा गया था कि लास्ट की 5 या 10 मिनट we'll have it for the question answer. So if you want me to take the question answer, I'm willing to do so. Otherwise, I can take few of the slides here. जैसा आप मुनासिब समझे सुधीर जी.
Sir, we have 3 more questions at this point of time. So I think
just give me the questions, please. I'll just note down. Okay, let's take पहला प्रश्न.
Okay, so one you have already answered, which was raised by Mahesh ji.
Right?
Yeah. Okay. And the second one is what are the changes suggested in schedules 3 for a listed company? So
in Schedule 3 for the listed company. Schedule 3 listed companies are covered by Division 2 and Division 3. Division 2 is the India's companies. So can I safely assume that these changes have been made, these companies following the Indies, the listed company, and naturally those are covered in Division 2, Schedule 3 to the Companies Act. And as far as MDSV is concerned, that is also considered as a public company, and that also has to follow the Indies. So friends, more or less the changes are the same as for Division 1, 2 and 3, except that कुछ मात्रा में where it is related to the Division 2 only, then the changes are there, but more or less the changes are same as in Division 1, 2 and 3. कुछ बदलाव किए गए हैं, no doubt, from the perspective of the Indies, but they are very limited. I'm sure he's talking about the Division 3, right? Sorry, Schedule 3 to the company.
Schedule 3.
Not a CARO. Yeah.
That is correct. This next question is whether this Schedule 3 and CARO is applicable on alternative investment fund audit.
Alternative investment fund audit, if you look at the applicability of CARO, which is given in paragraph from 7 to paragraph 12 of the CARO registration, CARO, it is not applicable to them. I can give my dear friend the paragraph number also, maybe 7 or 6 or 7 to 12 or 14. आप पढ़ लीजिएगा, and अगर if you allow me time, I can tell you, read it right away. आप मुझे अगर सम्मति दे तो फिलहाल just now I can share with you. Allow me a minute then. This question is asked by who? Can you give me his name, please?
So this is asked by Rajendra Senapati.
राजेंद्र सेनापति जी, मुझे 2 मिनट की अवधि दीजिए, आपका प्रश्न का उत्तर मैं तुरंत दे देता हूँ with official thing, and it because this is covered in certain paragraph which I'm going to narrate with you. CARO 2020. No, this is a guidance note. Sorry, it's not here. It's not here. Guidance note. It may take more time. But friends, I remember very well that these are given in the paragraph 7 to 14 of the CARO. I mean, this is given in the material called the guidance note on the CARO. Guidance note on CARO 2020.
Okay, sir. Can we take next question, sir?
जी हाँ.
So the next question is from Kamal Moore, and the question is, kindly throw some light on calculation of ROI using TWRR method.
So this TWRR method is there in the return on investment, and that's if you can allow him to now speak, can I take him on the call, sir?
I think there is a restriction. Krishnakant, is that possible to hear it from Kamal?
No, sir. It's not possible.
Is not possible? Okay.
No, sir.
Actually, honestly speaking, the ICAI material, which is there in the financial models paper, is a very simple thing. And if you can allow me a minute, I will just go to that, please. What we have done in Division 1, Schedule 2 to the Companies Act. Allow me. Please, I'll find out.
Sir, you are on mute.
Okay, I'm surprised. Can you hear me now? Can you see the
Yes,
exercise?
yes.
Okay, now this is the balance sheet which I've shared with you all. Okay, and now let's go here. This is the ratio analysis, and there the return of investment which is there as per this scheme is the this. And if you go to see the average profit, average income has been given, but when you go to the CARO, when you go to the division 1, 2, and 3, they have given a very complicated formula, and very soon there's going to be clarification by the ICAI on the application of this. Because if you go to see even the financial modules formula given in the in the statements literature which is meant for the students, they have given the three definitions of the investments: net worth and assets minus liabilities and all this. So, and I must tell you one thing, that recently we have seen the published documents, and if I'm not mistaken, the Ultratech cement, Ultratech cement, Ultratech cement, and we've seen that they have not given any explanation of the formula. Simply they have said the return of investment, that is the profit earnings after the average investment. डिनोमिनेटर इज द एवरेज इन्वेस्टमेंट. सो कमल जी थोड़ा इंतजार कीजिए, आपसे मैं सहमत हूं कि दैट इज अ वेरी कॉम्प्लिकेटेड फॉर्मूला, एंड बट देयर इज अ wide variety in the application of this. Ideally, SEBI should come out with a specific formula. Otherwise, tunde mati binna, that can happen.
Yes, sir. Krishnakanji, do we have time for few more questions?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we will take whatever questions have come up. So the next question is from.
So tell me, give me the. I mean, I can share the all materials which I promised on the CPE where Krishnakant has sent me the email.
Hello, Krishnakant.
Yes, sir.
I can share this PPTs and all these the same email as you send me the.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I can share the details on the same email as you send me, or any other email.
Sir, your PPT already at ICAI.org website.
Oh, so you taken from there?
Your PPT. Yeah, yes, sir. Is it available at ICAI.org website?
No, it's not available. I'll share with you. Don't worry, on the same email as you sent. Okay. Now, can you take the second question?
Yeah,
please?
the second question is from Arun Mishrilal Kothari, and the question is: CARO 2020 not applicable to small companies as defined under Section 285. Paid up share capital of not more than 50 lakhs or such higher amount as may be prescribed, which shall not be more than 10 crores, and annual turnover of not more than 2 crores, or such higher amount as may be prescribed, which shall not be more than 100 crores, here to become a small company. Both the conditions are required to be fulfilled. And sir, as per your view, it is applicable to each company. Kindly clarify.
What do you mean by it is applicable to each company? I said very clearly that division 1, 2, and 3, schedule 3 to the companies is applicable to all the companies across the board, whether it is a small company, 1% company, section 8 company, jo bhi kuch hai, right? And when it comes to CARO, it is not applicable to the small companies. And Sudhirji, can you see on your screen this document called applicability of the CARO?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so this is what they say, that it's not applicable to small companies. Okay, now this is where, as I told you, paragraph 7 to 14 are they cover. Order
Okay.
of the CARO is not applicable to the banking company, insurance company, company license. And this, my dear friend, this you need to change your perception of the small company definition. And now it is not 50 lakhs anymore. जैसे हमारे सुधीर जी ने जवाब दिया था, right? That
Right.
the paid up capital is now enhanced from 50 lakhs to 2 crores, and the turnover has been increased from 2 crores to 20 crores in the immediate preceding year. In the immediate preceding year, not in this
Right.
particular year, sir. In the immediate preceding year, if this is threshold, then it's applicable. Sir, एक ये भी बहुत रोचक है, and I think you should read that also. I'll bring this to your notice, sir, because this was asked at one of the forums that suppose there's a company, is a small company, and its turnover is more than is say about 20 crore rupees, or it has a borrowing. Forget about this thing, because the definition of the company is a small company is linked to the paid up capital and the turnover. Paid up capital is less than 2 crores, and the turnover is also less than 20 crore rupees, but it has borrowings more than 100 crores. The question arises, will CARO be applicable to such companies? Answer is no. And for this, my dear friends, you need to read these paragraphs number 7 through maybe 14 or 16. Yes. And my dear friend, your answer to this REIT is here. Is there in paragraph 16? Some gentlemen asked me a question whether the real estate investment trusts are covered or not, but they say will be it will not be covered because they are covered by the order will not be applicable to the infrastructure investment company and the real estate investment company because they are governed by the SEBI. Okay, sir. So this is your answer, my dear friends. You must read this document, CARO guidance note, because that is going to help you immensely.
Sure, sir. Thank you, Arunji. I hope this answers your question. The next question is for disclosure transaction with struck companies. Do we have to give corresponding previous year figures? Further, can you elaborate the same since exhaustive list of companies struck under section 248 not available?
One very good lead is that you must always read the master data of the MCA and then find whether the company is stuck up or not. But normally this is to be given for the entities, the transactions during the financial year. And if there is anything which has happened in the preceding year, you should give even their clues also.
Got it. Then we will take the last question, and it is, please tell me amendment in money laundering.
I think that's beyond my.
Yeah, this is slightly in a different topic.
On a different tangent. Kshama chahta hu कि I cannot dwell upon your query. Please forgive me.
Right, sir. So these are the only questions we have, and thanks for your answer. Krishna Kanji, can we conclude the session? Or sorry, if you have anything else to
nothing.
share.
I must appreciate your support. I must appreciate your support. I must appreciate support of the CPE committee, and more so two gentlemen, Sudhirji and Krishna Kanji, for the great support. Appreciate that. Thank you,
sir. Thank you so much for your very insightful and very engaging session. And I think the way you have covered all the CARO requirements, and as a person who gets audited, I understand how much pain we have to go through. But you have really covered it in a very engaging manner. So thank you so much, and we really appreciate it.
थैंक यू सो मच. कहने को बहुत कुछ था मगर कह नहीं पाया. बट
We
मेरे
understand, sir.
पीपीटी और एक्सेल के माध्यम से आपको बहुत चीजें मिल जाएंगी सर.
Right.
Correct? Like this document, I think is going to be a great help to you. Connecting India. Tagging. जो फेसबुक में करते हैं ना हम लोग टैगिंग, वो
Right.
टैगिंग किया है सर आपके लिए.
Correct, sir.
And this honestly done by my team, not by me. श्रेय उनको जाता है, मुझे नहीं. केवल मैंने एक लीडर की भांति उनको बतौर लीडर मैंने गाइड किया कि do this and they have done it very well job.
Absolutely, sir. So
I am not a plagiarism. I don't believe in plagiarism. कि दूसरों का आइडिया मेरे के आइडिया से नहीं कहूँगा. जो मैंने नहीं किया सर.
yes,
I'm
sir.
not a complete man like Raymond's.
So please pass on our gratitude to your team as well, sir.
नहीं, of course, ये
And,
सब young enthusiastic articles है and they are beaming with the confidence.
Absolutely. Okay, so thank you so much, sir.
वैसे जी
And
कितनी मर्तबा आपने आंख बंद कर दी.
सर आपको सुनना इतना अच्छा लग रहा था, समझ में नहीं आया, लेकिन मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा. द वे इन विच यू हैव एक्सप्लेन्ड स्मॉल थिंग्स, इट क्रिएटेड इंटरेस्ट, यू नो. सो आई जस्ट
बिल्कुल वैसी ही स्थिति मनस्थिति मेरी थी कि आप जो नाम जितने मेडिकल के बोल रहे थे, इतने जटिल से नाम समझ नहीं आया, पर उसका निष्कर्ष समझ में आया.
मुझे लगा कि थोड़ा सा चेंज किया जाए कि सी फ्रेटर्निटी को थोड़ा सा साइंस में घुसा दिया जाए.
नहीं, बहुत अच्छा प्रयत्न है आपका. एंड आफ्टर ऑल ये माइंड गेम है. जितनी संतुलित रखेंगे दिमाग को, इतना अच्छा रहेगा.
okay.
Yeah.
So thank you again, sir, to you and your team, and thank you, Jayashree ma'am. Thank you to the entire organizing committee, Vice Chairman Gyan Chand Mishra ji, Adukia sir. So thanks everyone, and thank you to all the participants who kept this session, these 2 sessions very engaging and interactive. And sorry for slight time out.
नहीं होता है, it happens sir. तो हमारे सब पार्टिसिपेंट्स को भी मेरी ओर से बधाई. How many participants are there now?
Krishnakant, do you have a count?
Chali, it's okay friends, no issue about it.
Okay. Do we have Krishnakant? Do we have Adukia sir or Mishra ji for concluding remarks, or should we end this session?
लगता है दायित्व आप ही को निभाना.
Okay. So sir, I think sir and Jayashree ma'am, we can conclude this session. Thanks again for all the hard work to your teams, and it was an eye opener for all of us. And emotional intelligence, again, it's a
बहुत मजा आ गई.
it is an eye opener, I would say, because this is the most important leadership trait that everybody must have. And thank you, Yagnesh sir, for the enlightenment on the CARO and Schedule 3. And thanks to everyone, all the participants, and have a good evening until we meet again. Have a
जयश्री
great
जी ने
weekend.
आज देखा है कि पॉज बटन कैसे इस्तेमाल किया. क्यों जयश्री जी?
सही है सर. बट सर आपका जो आपने क्रेडिट दिया है ना, तो मैं वही देख रही थी इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस और लीडरशिप में. मुझे वो लग रहा था रेजोनेंट लीडर्स की सारी क्वालिटीज आप में दिख रही थी जब आपने टीम को अपना पूरा क्रेडिट दिया.
देखिए ये एक दिखावा है कि सब मैंने किया. कोई कोई मानेंगे भी नहीं कि बोला क्या बकवास कर रहा है यार, सब ऐसे क्या इट्स एवरीवन नोज बाबा कि भाई ये टीम एफर्ट से ही होता है.
वेरी गुड, एंड आई रियली एंजॉयड लिसनिंग टू यू. मेरा नॉलेज ले पर्सन जैसी हूँ मैं सीए फील्ड के अंदर, बट इट वाज इंटरेस्टिंग टू लिसन एंड आई वाज लाइक आई रोट सम पॉइंट एंड आई लाइक योर दैट डायलॉग. शेयर, मैं अपने शेयर दिल से शेयर कर रहा हूँ. That was it, so
मैडम, I must tell you something. I must share with you one thing. अमिताभ बच्चन साहब के साथ हमारा काफी ताल्लुकात रहा है. 2001 में जो पहला केबी से आया था ना, we had handled with the अमित जी for at least 18 months together in studio number 7 in Filmistan studio.
okay. Okay, that's great. That's great. It was nice
उनकी
to
छाया मेरे पे अभी भी है. अगला प्रश्न बैठे.
मुझे मैं कोऑर्डिनेट कर पाई सर केवीसी के साथ और शुद्ध हिंदी के साथ तो बहुत कुछ सर मैंने आपका थोड़ा सा टाइम खा लिया था आई एम रियली एक्सट्रीमली सॉरी
नहीं
फॉर
नहीं, कोई
दैट
बात नहीं, कोई बात नहीं.
एंड व्हेन आई गो इन फ्लो आई जस्ट फॉरगेट अबाउट द टाइम तो सुधीर जी ने बहुत
नहीं,
हेल्प
नहीं,
की
मैंने
मुझे
कहा कि आप तो समय की धारा में बह रही थी. अस्खलित प्रवाह था आपका.
and thank you so much Sudhir for helping me out and coordinating with the PPT and thank you so much the ICI to give me this opportunity and thank you all the
Yeah.
participants
Thank
you
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, bye.
thank you
Thank you, everyone.